الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome to lesson 5 of Riyadh al-Sibyan, educating children. And we are still in the early years and we are still on the topic of eating. In the last lesson we talked about the importance of suckling, where a child would be given to other than the mother. Again, that was more relevant in the past, but what we can take from that is we have to be cautious about what we put in our children's stomachs, because it has an effect, it has a physical and spiritual effect. So the author goes on to say, وبعدما يعظم تجد يشتهي أكل الطعام دائما لا ينتهي. After he has grown, you will find him desiring to eat incessantly and unceasingly. يعلموه الأكل باليمين والبسملة حتما بكل حين. One should teach him to eat with his right hand and say the basmala dutifully every time. So now he's going to go on to the etiquettes of eating, one of the main activities you could say for children, one of the main hallmarks of looking after them with the children is very, very young children, is feeding them, isn't it? Feeding them, getting their meals prepared, getting them to eat healthily, and so forth. So he's saying that once they're obviously grown out of milk, they're going to start wanting to eat food, and there might be this desire to keep eating all sorts, especially when it comes to sweets, of course, isn't it? So you have to discipline now the child. Now we're going to get into disciplining the child. That eating also is not done haphazardly, like anything in life. We organize things, and our eating should be organized as well, balanced. So he says you teach them to eat with the right hand. So the first thing is to teach child with the right hand, and that can be challenging sometimes when the child is left-handed by nature. But like anything, a human being can be taught to do anything. So it's difficult in the beginning, but you have to just be patient. And again, always be gentle. Be gentle with teaching them. So if it's your natural impulse to eat with your left, it is going to happen. It's going to keep happening, and gently through time. You don't need to hit the person or anything like that. It's just to keep reminding them as they eat. Which hand are you eating with? I'm supposed to be eating with my right hand. And eventually, inshallah, they will get there. As you know, Shaitan eats with his left. The basmala, again, if you don't say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, again, Shaitan gets involved in the food. So the first thing is to teach them to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And there's a hadith about this where the Prophet taught this young boy. He said, Ya ghulam, O young boy, Sammillah, say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Akul biyaminik, right? Eat with your right hand, wa kul mimma yalik, and eat whatever is nearest you. Okay, so these are the etiquettes of eating that the Prophet taught. And then he says, and he should not eat before his companion, and he should eat the food nearest to him. That's what we say from the hadith, kul mimma yalik. ولا يبادر قبل أكل صاحبه ويأكل العيش الذي بجانبه ويمضغ اللقمة مضغا محكما ولا يسارع أو يوالي اللقمة. Right, so لقمة. And he should chew his food completely and do not hurry or haste for the next piece. So again, and we're now actually we're taught this, isn't it, in the world we live in, that you're supposed to eat you're supposed to chew your food properly. It's much better to people actually talk about this. Nutritionists will talk about this, and do not eat too quickly. We also know now that when you eat, it takes time for your brain to realize when you're full. So you actually sometimes are eating, although you're actually full, but you think you're not. If you slow that down, then you actually become satisfied with less food. So it's all been proven now. So do not hurry and hasten for the next piece. So he says, eat. Once you've finished the piece that was in your mouth, then go for another one. It's not that you've still got food in your mouth and you're putting more food in your mouth. That's not the way to eat. And obviously this is obviously a great aspect of this is discipline, isn't it? It's a primary need to eat and drink to survive. It's an appetite. But it's showing that the appetite has to be controlled. Otherwise, appetites get out of control. And Ghazali talks a lot about the ailments of overeating and the stomach, and talks about the benefits of doing with less food and having some element of hunger in your life. I mean, one of the things that we should be teaching ourselves, implementing ourselves and other people, especially where if you're living in places where food is plentiful, people are eating 3 times a day. Remember, many cultures still people only eat twice a day, and that was the norm for a long time. So this idea of 3 meals a day is quite a modern concept, and it's only in places we use this plentiful food. And we get into the habit of sometimes eating when we're not hungry. We have a breakfast because, well, we were told you must have breakfast. It's the best meal of the day. Or we feel you must have lunch. It's lunchtime, but I go and eat something. But am I actually even hungry? If you're not hungry, don't eat. Your body speaks to you. If your body's telling you not to eat, it's not telling you it's hungry, it means it doesn't need any food right now. So that in itself reduces the appetite. And there's a big problem now with obesity, as we all know, especially in the Western world. People have to go to camps to lose weight. People have to pay other people money to help them lose weight when they didn't need that in the first place, just excess. And then obviously the flip side is other people in the world who don't have as much food. So it's not just about eating halal, it's eating less. And we know that the Prophet said that the worst vessel that a human can fill is their stomach. So there are many many etiquettes of eating, obviously saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, using your right hand, washing your hands before you eat, eating what is closest to you, not blowing on hot food, waiting till it cools down, not adding food into your mouth when you've already got food in there, and so forth. And also not to despise any food. If you don't like something, just to leave it rather than complain about it. That's not respectful of the blessing that God has given us. So we have to get in the habit of ourselves showing, but also showing our children that you don't say certain foods are disgusting and words like that. No, I do not like it, fine. But, it's better just to leave it rather than complain about the food. There's very many years ago, there was a Muslim footballer who, what happened was somebody threw a piece of bread onto the pitch, and he picked up and kissed it and put it to the side out of respect. And it went viral because in a culture where they're not taught that, the respect for the food, they'll throw food. The food it's just like anything, it's not given any value. The blessing of it is not there. So people have to be taught this, especially in places where food is plentiful. It's easy to waste food, it's easy to leave food, but to give that respect that, okay, put less into your plate. You don't have to put as much food into your plate if you don't want it, but give respect to the food that's keeping you alive. Without it, you can't function. It's fulfilling an extremely important role in your existence. And then he goes on to say, وَيَأْكُلُ الْيَابِسِ مِنَ الطَّعَامِ تَعَلُّمًا حَتْمًا بِلَا إِدَامِ حِينًا فَحِينًا فِي الْعَشَاءِ وَالْغَدَاءِ كَيْ لَا يَرَى الْإِدَامَ حَتْمًا أَبَدًا. And he should eat of food that is dry, so he becomes accustomed to it in its purest form, occasionally for lunch or for supper, so that he does not think it must always be luxurious. Now again, we have to put some context to this, because in a time where in societies especially where we have plentiful food, we don't necessarily have to implement it as the way he's saying it, to give a child dry bread and say, look, there's a glass of water, dry bread, there you go. But it means that we shouldn't get the child used to luxurious food, because we know the Prophet ﷺ, in a hadith, it says, Kana sallallahu alayhi wa sallam yakulu ma wajid, right, in Bukhari. He used to eat what he found. In other words, he wasn't fussy about his food. He ate what was given to him, and so we should make that same mannerism manifest in our children by making them realize that they shouldn't be fussy about their food. They should eat what they're given. If there's food made and they don't like it, that's fine. There's a food, you don't like it, you can go and get a bowl of cereal or some toast, but do not submit to their every whim and wish. Okay, you don't want that, that's fine, I won't make something separate for you. No, we're getting them used to being spoiled then. So we have to, the idea here is not to get them used to always luxurious food. Like some people always eat meat and chicken, and if you give them vegetables, they put their nose up at it. That's not the right attitude. So the idea is to get them used to eating plain food at times, and they should be satisfied with plain food as well. They shouldn't be so spoiled that they can't go somewhere without, they always have to have chips, for example. You should be able to eat whatever food is put in front of you, and appreciate it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam taslim kathira. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.